I would love to believe that when I die, I will live again, that some thinking, feeling, remembering part of me will continue. But as much as I want to believe that, and despite the ancient and worldwide cultural traditions that assert an afterlife, I know of nothing to suggest that it is more than wishful thinking. Carl Sagan. Death anxiety. The mouse runs from the cat. The gazelle runs from the lion. The deer runs from the hunter. Why? Why do they run? Why don't these animals just walk into certain death? It's because through their genes they have been endowed by evolution with the knowledge that death is bad. Death is pain. Death is certainly the end of their journey. They know these things instinctively, and so did our ancestors 3 million years ago. Their genetic hardwiring allowed them to know, but not necessarily comprehend, that death was the end and that it should be avoided at all costs. Now, 3 million years later, with our current brain-to-body ratio that makes comprehending our existence possible, we understand that this innate fear of death is an onboard genetic defense mechanism, a built-in genetic safety net, a way to ensure that our species lives long enough to propagate. Though there are certainly still things to fear in this regard, over the last 3 million years those things have changed drastically. Now, instead of being eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, we're hit by a bus or shot in a home invasion. My point is that a lot of our fears ultimately come back to death. That's because we are hardwired that way. But what if we found a way to temporarily disable or short-circuit that hardwiring? I believe that we have, and we call it religion. Religions, from almost their inception right up to the modern day, have sought to convince us that we are or can become, in one way or another, immortal, whether that be physically or spiritually. If you watched my last video on immortality, you'll know that humans have always sought immortality, or a way to not shed this mortal coil, but to extend or enhance it indefinitely. This trope points to our innate understanding that death is the end, and that it is an end that we would like to postpone for as long as possible. But in reality, religions are selling us a millennia-old snake oil remedy. It's a pipe dream made up by ancient men that didn't want to die. Our only hope of immortality lies in science. So far, science has been the only thing to postpone our inevitable deaths, and ironically, it has always been opposed by organized religion. In the last 300 years, life expectancy has risen by an unprecedented rate, jumping from 56 years old in the 18th century to 79 years old in 2019. Just for a second, imagine what that number will be in 100 or 1,000 years. In the next 1,000 years, I predict that either we will be extinct and the Earth a barren wasteland riddled with irradiated craters, or humanity will have conquered the final enemy and risen to the ranks of the immortal, living as long as we wish to. For this and other reasons, religion will, until its eventual death, oppose scientific advancement that extends human lifespans. They don't want to see anyone cornering the market on their biggest selling point. And who could blame them? They've had a monopoly on the immortality market for almost 10,000 years, and that's not something you just give up willingly. So we have to take it from them. We have to educate ourselves and help people out of religion and into valuing truth and reason and rationality and most of all science, if we ever want to conquer death. We have to redirect all of the money that is going to churches towards scientific research and education. We have to overcome false immortality if we ever wish to achieve the real thing. In what form that will come, no one can say, but what I do know is that to get there, we must overcome religious dogma and tradition and embrace science and rationality.